February 16th, 2021. After 10 years of working, I quit the best job I ever had. Why would I quit such a great job? Was it the right call? How would I earn a living? And would I be happy? Hello, I'm Matthew Encina. In this video, I'll share my experience of quitting my job, from how I decided to the results of what life looks like 1 year later. Before I begin, I want to thank Artgrid for sponsoring a portion of this video. More on that later. Before I answer why and how I decided to quit, I think it's important to give a little context. For over a decade, I've been working for the same boss, Chris Do. I first started as a student in school, then interned for him, and eventually I worked my way up to become a creative director at his company, Blind, making TV commercials and content for dream clients like Xbox and Coldplay. Then in 2016, he invited me to start making content, teaching on his YouTube channel, The Futur. During this time, I had tremendous personal growth, explored interesting opportunities, and had a sense of fulfillment through my work. This even got me to start my own YouTube channel in 2018. But then, something interesting happened. At the end of 2019, I got a job offer from a previous client. They offered me an incredible position that would more than double my salary and give me access to amazing creative work. This was a fork in the road. Do I stay the course with my current job, a job I've grown to love, or do I take a chance to level up my career? I struggled with this decision for a month because it could result in a huge change in my trajectory. Then I paused and did some personal reflection. Getting this job offer helped me realize that I bring something valuable to the table and I have the power of choice. I thought to myself, what do I really want? And are these my only two choices? From there, I developed a decision matrix to help me map and evaluate the possibilities: staying at my current job, taking the new job, working someplace else entirely, or going on my own. I came up with scoring criteria for the things that were important for me in this decision: income, flexibility of where and how I work, free time, and happiness. This was a powerful way for me to put aside my abstract emotions and analyze it from a logical perspective. Lastly, I added dependencies for each possibility. For this to happen, these other things must also happen. I added up the total score for each, and the results surprised me. The path that scored the highest was going on my own. However, it had a dependency. I would have to fill the void of income from not having a job. While I had side hustles and other sources of income, it wasn't enough to make me feel confident in leaving. As a runner-up, only 2 points behind, was staying at my current job. In this process, I realized that I didn't want to take this new job offer, and going on my own, while the best choice, wasn't feasible yet. So I decided to stay at my job at The Futur. Then 2020 happened. The world changed. Working from home and isolation became the norm. It was a time of introspection and a newfound appreciation for home and relationships. I love to work, so being home all the time, all I did was work. While continuing to do my job during the day, I also devoted my free time to my side hustles, making more content on my YouTube channel, developing brand partnerships, capturing affiliate and ad revenue, and teaching online courses. By the end of 2020, I was burnt out. I was doing too much. The job I stayed at stopped being fulfilling, mostly because I didn't see the people in the office every day, and it just became about the work. As the year closed, while reviewing my books with my accountant, something incredible happened. My side income made as much as my full-time job. This made me reflect. If this is what I accomplish on nights and weekends, what would happen if I dedicated all my time to these efforts? Going back to my decision matrix from the year before, I told myself I could only pursue going on my own if I was able to close the income gap. This intangible possibility started to look like a reality if I made the choice to change. I wanted to make sure I wasn't delusional, so I called my mom. I ran the idea by her, and she said, "Since you were a teenager, you've always been able to accomplish whatever you said you were going to do." I told my wife, who's my sounding board because she's equal parts skeptical and supportive. She told me, "It's been a long time coming." Then I checked with my accountant. He said, "You could fail for 18 months straight and be fine financially. Invest in yourself. It has the best returns." The people around me believed in me. I had plenty of runway in case it didn't work out. I could see the bigger picture. I was ready. Now came the hard part, telling Chris Doe, my boss, my mentor, my friend. I wrote a short letter, hopped on a call, and explained my decision. During that call, he told me, "It makes perfect logical sense. You've been ready, and I'm surprised you didn't leave sooner." I closed a chapter in my life that day, and I was ready to write the next one. So where does that leave me today? Before I answer that, I want to take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Artgrid. One thing I take great pride in is the cinematography in my videos. While I aim to capture everything to tell my story, there are just some shots that I can't get. That's where Artgrid comes in. Artgrid is a platform that offers high-quality footage licensing for filmmakers and video creators. With a simple license, you can get unlimited access to a catalog of royalty-free footage for use in any private or commercial production on any platform worldwide. Many of the clips from some of my recent videos come from the Artgrid catalog that's updated daily. It's a great resource to help you craft your stories because it gives you access to a variety of filmmakers from around the globe. If you sign up using my link in the description, you'll get an extra 2 months for free. Thank you, Artgrid. Now, back to the video. The reason I quit my job was to discover where my personal interests would take me and what would call for my creativity. I wanted to give myself the space to think, explore, and find out how I could leverage my skills and relationships. What would I do with free time and a bored mind? That was the gift I gave myself. For the first few months, I wasn't quick to load myself up with new obligations. Rather, I said no to most opportunities so I could see things clearly, evaluate carefully, and design a life I would be happy with. So you might be wondering, what am I doing now? Over the past year, I've continued to make content on my YouTube channel, exploring new topics and formats. I was fortunate to grow my channel significantly and generate new business around it. I spoke at several events, both in person and virtual, helping me meet and reach new people. I was hired by Webflow as a freelance director to make a documentary series about creatives in the no-code space. I've done work with them in the past, but I've never done a project like this before. This documentary challenged me. It helped develop my skills as a director, allowed me to dive deep into the filmmaking and storytelling process, and see interesting people and places through travel. For the past few months, I've been collaborating with my friends over at GroveMade, and am currently in the process of designing a physical product with them. I'm learning so much about the industrial design process and what it takes to bring a product to market. If you want to learn more about that, you can sign up for updates using the link in the description. And the most recent and exciting development, I'm in the early stages of writing my own book. I know it's bad to celebrate too early, especially because I'm still in the proposal process, and this could easily die on the vine. I have a long way to go. But this just feels right. I've been building my skills as a storyteller and educator for so many years. It feels like I'm supposed to do this, and my journey has led me in this direction. While this all might seem like a lot, my life has been the most relaxed and flexible it's ever been. I have autonomy over how I work, when I work, and what I choose to do with my free time. Things feel balanced at a pace that works for me. Although that freedom comes with added responsibility and can have its own challenges. I spoke about my struggle with accountability and focus in my last video if you want to learn more about that. The big concern I had when quitting my job was, will I earn enough money? At the very least, I wanted to just match my salary, but my goal was to hit twice that. My gross revenue for 2021 was over 4 times my salary. I surpassed my goal. I couldn't believe it. And lastly, the most important thing, am I happy? Yes. I feel focused and driven. I am more creative than I've ever been, working on things I never imagined for myself. The future, my future, is full of possibility, waiting for me to explore it, one day at a time. I wanted to close this video by saying, I'm extremely privileged and grateful to have this opportunity, but I've also worked a long time to get to this point. Quitting my job was not a decision I took lightly. I planned for it, assessed the risk of my decisions, and took the leap only after I felt enough momentum was built through the efforts I pursued outside my job. I share my story to show what's possible and to encourage you to choose your own path. Pursue your callings, but do so gracefully and earnestly. Be optimistic, but balance that with objective realism, backed by action. Be mindful of your finances and invest in your happiness. With that out of the way, it's time to get back to work.